Now then, so today's thoughts. I'm going to be talking about my loss of confidence in Councillor Jacob Padget. Now, I just want to make it clear it's not personal, but it's based on his policies and his actions more than anything else. I'm sure he's a very nice chap. From what I'm led to believe, he's quite an intelligent person, but I'm afraid all confidence in him with recent events particularly, but I'm going to list all the ones that have led me to this conclusion. This is Councillor Padget. There's also this picture. There's also this picture, which is now subsequently deleted from his personal profile after I called him out on it pre-election. The reason why I called him out on it is because that picture links him to a company called Tate Housing based in Nottinghamshire. Now, he's still listed on their website as an administrator. Now, he may not be an administrator any longer from Tate Housing, but why would Tate Housing still list him as an administrator if he was no longer working there? On his declaration of interest, he is not listed Tate Housing as an employer. He is listed HMRC. Now, it could be a technicality, maybe it's HMRC through Tate Housing, I don't know. That's for Councillor Padget to clarify. But that didn't bode well, reason number one. What really sparked this video really was what happened last week, where he posted a picture about fly tipping, and he's absolutely right to prevent fly tipping. But what he's done, I believe, is posted a picture that is clearly not fly tipping. In fact, it's a nicely neat stack of furniture outside the premises of where the person giving it away. Clearly the neighbour must have had something to do with it, because you can see on the graphic that his door's open, and he's posted it knowing that it is a family member of previous Mayor of Wakefield, Maureen Tennant-King. And then he's removed the photos after, rightly so, Maureen challenged him. Now, in his description, he said out of respect for the previous Mayor of Wakefield, and that is a load of cobswallop. He's removed it because he was believed that there was going to be some sort of complaint about it. Now, interesting enough, this isn't the first time that he's had to amend or withdraw what he's posted on social media. I refer back to a few weeks ago. The Charleston Church had posted something along the lines of that the Reform Councillors weren't invited to the messy kitchen. And, you know, whether that's right or wrong, I'm not really questioning that. And obviously there was then some conversations behind the scenes on peer-to-peer messaging. And then Councillor Padget, in his ultimate wisdom, decided to publicise these peer-to-peer messages. Now, if you're in public office, then you are held to a higher esteem. And what that means is that you cannot go around sharing screenshots of residents, whether it supports your argument or not. What the correct thing to do is to try and resolve those issues in private. Now, unfortunately, he publicised it, and that, I'm afraid, is the breach of Article 8, the European Convention of Human Rights. So, he's then subsequently removed it, amended the post, and then he's trying to arrange a public discussion about it. But either way, he's already shot himself in the foot, in my opinion, by publicising peer-to-peer messages, which is another reason I have no confidence in directing any correspondence to him, in light that he may then publicise something that may well be confidential and only meant for his eyes only. Now, as you can sort of see from the photographs that I put on earlier, it's quite evident that some of them are AI docked. But there's other artificial intelligence graphics that is put on which have quite often some errors in there. And the thing is with artificial intelligence, it's only as good as what you put into it. So it's putting in rubbish and it's getting out rubbish. And ultimately, if you're using artificial intelligence, then you need to sense check what it produces. And clearly he's not doing that either. So again, anything he puts out through artificial intelligence, I would always take with a pinch of salt, because it's not going to be 100% accurate for the reasons I've just outlaid. It's been reported to me by a number of people that Councillor Padget has been directing residents with legitimate issues that he should be picking up and directing them to the Pride in Place board, and to suggest putting those forward as a quick fix for that board to spend that money. Now, that can be an accurate direction, but it depends on what it is. If, for example, it's about money, say for the canopy on the precinct, that is a liability of Wakefield Council. And I know this because when I was elected on Wakefield Council, there was a legal battle going off between the landlord and Wakefield Council about who was liable. Now, Wakefield Council effectively established that they were liable, and we were on the understanding that work was going to start happening at the beginning of this year. It hasn't. And I strongly suspect, nothing to do with Reform, but I strongly suspect that the officers in Wakefield Council thought, Pride in Place, we'll try and leverage that money to do this, what we're liable for. Now, I don't know that, but it's a curious flow of events. And if then the officers have briefed the councillors to direct residents to do that, well, they need to challenge these officers and say, no, that's not how it works. The dog wags the tail, not the tail wags the dog. And for that, that's another reason why I've lost confidence in him and his ability to push back. We've seen a sign put up in the car park off Wilson Street. Now, there's some toing and froing about how and why that's happened, but I can assure you that the previous councillors had nothing to do with the erection of that sign whatsoever. Now, some reports had been saying that the newly elected councillors had. Again, I can't substantiate that, but I'm sure that they will have been told that one would be getting erected. Now, historically, there's never been any parking restrictions in terms of time at that car park, and that for something that I would stand by going forward. Can never say never, but certainly while we've got a town that is in need of as much support and help as possible to start turning it around, which I think Pride in Place will help to do, by the way, then we can't have a parking restriction on there. There's business owners, there's going to be some customers going there that will genuinely need longer than 4 hours. Granted, that might be in the minority, but even so, why 4 hours? If you go down the road to Aquif, there is a council car park there, and I'll show you the graphic now. It's quite evident that that sign is the same makeup as the one erected in Featherstone, except you'll note there's no parking time restriction on it. So why is it that Featherstone are being attacked effectively? Do they not want to support our town? Do they not want to ensure that the town can grow and attract customers to our local businesses? Now, if it was me, I'd have been straight on as an email documenting it, seeing the portfolio holder, even the leader of the council, saying we can't have this, we need it in line with Aquif, where they don't have any parking time restrictions. But silence says it all, and that is another reason I shan't be in support of Councillor Padget. I've been given an email, I've redacted the name, but it's from a resident in Featherstone, and how Councillor Padget has ended that email as a professional in public office is, quite frankly, gobsmacked. I was. Has anyone ever, from a councillor, from an MP, from a doctor, from any professional being, ended an email with "Happy Donald Duck Day"? Now, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter whether an individual was emailing frivolously, whether they had a genuine concern or not, whether you just thought it was a funny comment. You just don't do that as someone in public office like that. So again, all confidence has gone with Councillor Padget. Now finally, after all what I've said, the council is made up with a cabinet which pretty much makes the decisions and running of the council, or it should do, although I do think the tail is wagging the dog at the minute. But there is a significant scrutiny board that is supposed to scrutinise the decisions of the cabinet, and it's advisory, don't get me wrong, but quite often if there is some legitimate concerns with how those decisions are made, you can have it called in and it can be scrutinised. Something similar happened with the ridings. It was scrutinised through the scrutiny board and then sent back with some recommendations to the cabinet. Now, with adult services, a significant amount of money, significant amount of time, significant amount of eyes are focused on adult services, children's services as well. But there was a recent, and again, whether it's legitimate or not, I wouldn't like to say, but the point is there was something circulating about Councillor Hyatt, who's the portfolio holder for the adult services, sort of suggesting that maybe there was going to be changing the description of essential services and effectively stopping those over the festive period to save a couple of quid. Now, I wouldn't like to think that anybody would have considered that, but nevertheless, that's what was circulating. Now, if there was a body to scrutinise that decision, it would be the Adult Services Scrutiny Board. If you was the leader of the council and you was perhaps looking at doing some questionable decisions, cuts if you will, then how best would you want to navigate that decision making with the least amount of kickback from a scrutiny board? Well, you'd put your best people in position, wouldn't you? Well, the chair of that scrutiny board for adult services is our very own Councillor Padget. Now, given all what I've just said about how he's conducted himself, the decisions he's made, the sort of massive calamities, do you have any confidence that he'll be able to push back and say to the leader, "Oi, this isn't right. The committee agrees that this is wrong, you need to go and reconsider it"? Quite frankly, I don't think it's in him. Yes, again, no confidence in him being able to perform that role all the one as your local district councillor. Right, that's it. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments about this one, so I look forward to reading them all, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye for now.